Hey everyone, happy Wednesday, October 19th. Oh my gosh, it was a couple days off. I hope you're all doing well. It's a beautiful day here in Kansas City. Um, if you're here, say hello. Love to chat. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to put it up a little higher. That is my information. Most of the projects that I do here on my lives, I usually have a blog post for. I'd say 95 to 98% of them. So when you're done here, if you're interested, you can hop on over to theplaidpoodle.com and you can see I put additional information, measurements, pictures, photos, and things like that. You can hop on over there and check it out. Okay, I am going to turn the camera around. Let's make sure we have something to look at. Today's project. If you're on my mailing list, I sent out very late last night. I haven't been feeling well. I don't know where our project is. Let me grab it. This was the project for week number 3. I keep calling it the 12 days of Christmas. Week number 3 of the 12 weeks of Christmas. I'm sorry, my shoe keeps falling off. Let me turn this around and kind of get that a little bit more centered. There we go. This was the card for week number 3. It's a left-sided step card, side step card. And I used the Magic Snowman bundle. I thought that was really cute to make a little scene on the little steps of the card. So all the information for that is over on the blog, theplaidpoodle.com. And there is a link for the full color PDF instructions as well as a video tutorial for that was actually the first time I had made a side step card, so I am glad now that I know, and I will be making a lot more of those. If you don't want to miss one of my 12 weeks of Christmas projects, make sure you sign up for my mailing list, and they go out every Tuesday for the next, we've already done 3 weeks. Wow, so there's 9 weeks left of projects. But today's card, we're going to make this little easy little swing card, and I want to show you what it does. You twist it around, so when you send this to your recipient, you twist that around, and when they open it, did you see how it just did that little dance? And I thought this Christmas ornament would be the cutest thing for this type of card, but you could use any little element, and we're going to use some circle dies to create that little swing right there. And I didn't put a sentiment inside. I thought when I send this, I will probably just write Merry Christmas and our names, because it is you have less space on your insert unless you want your sentiment to show out here on the edges. So I hope I'm in the right place. It seems very weird. I had my machine for record only yesterday because I recorded the tutorial for the side step card, and so I had to get back to where I was. But I'm going to trust that I'm in the right place. If you're out there watching, could you say hello? Or just give me a thumbs up or something. Okay, to make this card, we're going to use our A2 size card, which is 8.5 by 5.5, and then we're going to do some scoring. We're going to score it at 4 1/4. I'm going to use my scoring blade, not my cutting blade. And that's going to make our card base. Now before I put this little fold on the front flap of the card, we're going to do a couple of things. So Stay tuned and cross your fingers and say prayers that I do it right. Like I said, this is the first time I've done this type of card too. I thought it was so fun. Kind of an interactive card. I've taken a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 inch designer series paper, and this paper is the, let me grab it in case you are interested. It is the Painted Christmas 12 by 12 designer series paper. Oh, I am so sorry. Isn't that the most beautiful print? Hi, Kay. Now I know I'm in the right spot. Everybody must be out and about today enjoying the day. But these are the different prints. I almost use this print because it looks a little bit like the ornament. Lots of greens, real red, evening evergreen. This is a cute little background print too. Anyway, but I chose this little holly berry print for our purposes today. I'm going to put this over on my desk. Okay, so we're going to glue that, and I'm going to use some glue because we're going to cut it, and I want to make sure it's really secure on the front. You know, sometimes, well, at least when I use my Stamp and Seal tape runner adhesive, I just do a little strip here and a little strip there. Here a strip, there a strip, everywhere a strip, strip. I'm going to put myself up here in the corner. I always forget to do that. Hey. And I want to make sure this is really adhered to the front before we cut and do our folding. Isn't that pretty? Just put a Merry Christmas on that and you've got a card. Oh, and y'all, I did that wrong. Hold on. I've already messed up. We don't want it on the front. We want it on that inside. So can we do it this way? It'll be upside down, but if I hurry up, I can turn it around. Do you all have a little scraper that you use when you have a boo-boo? This is an old Cricut scraper. I don't even have a Cricut anymore. I hated that thing. And, but I kept that scraper around. Okay, there we go. Because we're going to fold this back. Now, we want to cut our circle in the middle of this. And I am using the layering circles dies, and I believe I used maybe this size. No. Let's see. I'm going to know right here because I cut out my other circles. I used this size. I should have just pulled it out. So it's this one. Yep, it's this one. So I am using the circle that is, and it would all depend. Change your circle size. It depends on what you're going to use for your little spinner. So if your spinner is bigger, you would use you know, a bigger circle. This circle measures 2 inches. So it's a 2-inch circle. And I am using the Spruced Up bundle. I love this bundle. I'm sorry, I keep showing you guys more and more things with it. But I can't run out of ideas. I just love this bundle. So I'm using this die for my insert or my little spinner element. Okay, we want this to be right in the middle because when we fold it back, we don't want the back of the circle to show. Ask me how I know. Hey, Mom. So I cut my frame out using my, they layer right on top of each other. That hence the layering circles dies. So I cut my frame out that I'm going to put around my circle just to kind of dress it up a little bit. And when you do that, you have this leftover circle. So that's what I would do first, is cut your frame out. And then I'm going to fold this circle in half. We're going to use it kind of as a template. Oh, you guys, look at my fingernail. It's got a big hunk of ink or something. I apologize. Thank you, Kay. Okay, and then we're going to find where we want this to go. I put it a little higher than center. And if you want to take a pencil, oh my gosh, almost took the whole camera down. We want to place the center of our circle at 2 1/8. So I want my circle to go about right there. So I'm going to just put a little tick mark right at 2 1/8. You guys probably can't even see it because it's right there. And that is going to allow me to line this up. And then to take my circle die now, I know this is right in the center where I want it because I took that fold and put it right at the 2 1/8 mark. This is a 4 1/4 inch wide panel. And I'm going to put my die right over there. Okay. This is probably overkill. You could probably just eyeball it. I'm going to use a little washi tape, but we're going through 2 layers here. So I put my big Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine away because I didn't think we were going to use it. I thought I had, but we do need to cut our circle in the center of the front of the card. So I am just going to run it through my die cutting machine really fast. You can probably hear all the and I've spun it through several times because we are using 2 layers. And we've got this cute little thing we can set aside and use for another project. I'm going to very gently pull this off. Okay. All right. What have I done? This is confusing me. Okay, this is the inside. Here we go. Now I'm going to fold this back. We could put a score line if we wanted to. And see, that's going to be the front of our card. But before I glue it all together, I'm going to add our frame. I just added a frame just because it's kind of dresses that circle up a little bit, kind of frames out our ornament. So I showed you how I did this. I layered the 2 dies and I just cut a little frame, scallop frame out of real red ink. I mean, real red cardstock. I'm going to put a little stream of glue here and frame out my circle. You can kind of manipulate it to fit that circle that you've just cut. See, it just looks a lot nicer with the frame on there. And since we already are using the dies, why not, right? Okay, now we're going to fold it back and we're going to adhere this to each other. And at this point, you probably could use some Stamp and Seal or some tear and tape. In fact, before we do this, I'm glad I said that. We are going to put some tear and tape on here. Goodness. I should have eaten lunch. I am going to place a little string of tear and tape right along the crease there. That little fold. Okay. Then I'm going to pull up the paper backing. And we're going to take some, this is just white baker's twine. And I'm going to run a length of baker's twine really tight right down that length of tear and tape. Whew, I'm glad I didn't forget that, because that's what we're going to mount our little spinner element onto. Now we can adhere this all back together. I'm going to add a little bit more glue. It's probably overkill, but okay. So see that little string? That's what we're going to twist our element on, and that's what makes it spin. Okay, for the inside of the card, I just took a piece of basic white cardstock, and this measures 4 by 5 1/4. And for this, I am going to just use my stamp and seal. And then I have cut the scalloped image out with that, just the scalloped. I've got a solid scalloped image so that this will show off my white ornament. The white on white didn't really, I needed something to show my ornament off, if you know what I mean. So I just put a little adhesive on the back of this, and then kind of lined it up with my frame. I wasn't too picky about it. Whoops. It's a little hard when I'm not, usually when I'm crafting, I stand up and I stand over my project. Okay. And then I just stamped a little tree and a little present. I used the Evening Evergreen, which is in the paper. Pulled that color from the paper. And we'll get this done, and then we'll make our spinner element. And I used the smaller tree image and the little gift box image. I thought this looked cute peeking out from the inside of the card. And then a little real red. There we go. And I'm going to use that Evening Evergreen, so I'm going to leave that open, but we're done with the real red. So we're going to do our ornament. So I've got a little scrap of basic white, and I'm going to take this, where's my box? This little image that's going to be kind of the old school, you know, the old school glass ornaments. We're going to stamp that on, and I use the Evening Evergreen for that. We could cut these ornaments out and then add our ink, but I always like to stamp and then cut. Okay, so then we'll take our die cut that coordinates with the spruced up set and cut this out real quick. We'll cut 2 of these. See how that fits perfectly? We'll have to do 2 runs of this. There's one. And there's 2. And the reason we do 2 is so that when it spins, we have a front and a back. So I'm going to just take one of these and put some adhesive on it. Whoops. And again, I'm using the multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm going to line my ornament up with that little piece of baker's twine. And then place the other image right on top. And there's your little spinner element. And then I dressed it up a little bit. See, when you spin that baker's twine, then when you open the card, it just dances around. It's so fun. So let's dress our ornament up just a little bit. I went ahead and cut. I used the die, and I took a piece of, actually a scrap of gold foil sheet, and I just cut the top out. And I went ahead and did that before we came on today. Oh, thank you, Kay. And I trimmed off these little extra pieces. It's kind of like paper piecing, if you've ever heard of paper piecing. And we're going to glue that on to the top of our ornament. It just gives it a little bit of a shine, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there and grab this little rectangle that was die cut out and put it in there. It just kind of finishes it off a little bit, don't you think? And then we'll do the same thing over on this side. Okay, I appreciate your comments because, you know, only card makers can appreciate, you know, we look at what went into the card more so than probably the naked eye of someone else who is not a card maker, and will say, how did they do that? That must have been so hard. We do recognize, you know, some of the simplest things can be so hard. Okay, there's our little top to our ornament, so it's got a little sparkle. And then the last thing we're going to do is put the little snowflake. I just thought it needs one more thing, right? So we're going to stamp and heat emboss a gold foil snowflake. So I've got my gold embossing powder. I'm going to take that piece of basic white. Let's tear this excess off. And just kind of wipe off the card just to get the static off of there. And then we need some Versamark ink, which is right here. And I need 2 snowflakes, and Stampin' Up! Was so kind that they gave us 2 dies. So we only have to run it through the machine once to get 2 snowflakes, because we'll need 1 for the front and 1 for the back. I'm going to grab some scratch paper. I'm a dumper. I dump a lot of embossing powder, and I'm not real careful about it. In fact, I think that one needs a little bit more. I think that'll be okay because we are going to cut those out. Okay. Stampin' Up! Carries basics embossing powder, which is white, clear, and black. And then they also carry metallics, which is gold, silver, and I believe bronze. Okay, excuse me while I turn on the heat tool here. I think heat embossing is so magical. I don't know why I don't do it more. That's what got me interested in card making years ago, and it was just the heat embossing, and that was the old school heat embossing where you had to take tongs and hold it over I held it over my stovetop to heat it up. I don't know at the time if there were actually heat guns, but I didn't know about them. So I would turn on my electric stovetop. There we go. There's our little snowflakes. We're not going to use the outline. We can set that aside for another project. Do you guys keep bags of things to use later? Here's a couple things I'm going to add to my bags of things to use later. Here's my cool cat snowman. Isn't he fun? So I just keep a little bag of all those things, and hopefully someday I will use them. Okay, this snowflake is the perfect size for a regular size Stampin' Dimensional. I thought I would have to use the minis, but it's the perfect size for the regular ones. Whoops. And that, my friends, is the card. It looks like we went to a lot of trouble, but it's really kind of quick. If you wanted to mass produce these, you could just die cut all of your frames out, all of your um, scallop circles, and go to town. I just think it's so fun. But before you put it in your envelope, remember to twist it up so that when they open it, it gives a little spin. And I just love the gold foil. It gives it a little sparkle too. And then you could write your little greeting right here, or you could put a little piece of white on the back for your greeting. I didn't want to crowd my greeting, so I didn't stamp a greeting on the card. And I think that's okay to do sometimes. Thank you, Kay. Thank you for watching. You all have a great afternoon. I will be back Monday for Make It Monday. And don't forget about 12 weeks of Christmas. Like I said, yes, this week's project is up over on the blog. And there's a place there you can sign up for the mailing list so that you get it in your email every week and you won't miss one of those projects. So we will talk to you soon, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by.